Let us begin with a simple image, the image of a bird in flight. Observe it for a moment. As the bird soars, it is not struggling. It is not clutching on to the air beneath its wings. The bird is held by the very same wind it has no control over, carried by invisible forces. If the bird were to grip the air, it would fall. It must release its grasp, trusting the wind to carry it. The more it lets go, the higher it rises, the farther it flies. This, in essence, is the paradox of life. We are taught to hold on, to strive, to control, to push forward with all our might. Yet the true way forward is through surrender, through the quiet act of letting go. And in doing so, we discover something profound. When we let go, life gives us more than we could have ever imagined. Now you may wonder, what does it mean to let go, to surrender, without losing the essence of who we are, without giving up on our dreams? To the ego, this may seem like a dangerous proposition. It insists that holding on tight is the only way to survive. But in reality, the more we try to control, the more we distance ourselves from the natural flow of life. Have you ever noticed how the harder you grip, the more you seem to lose? It's as though life is like water, and when you try to hold it, it slips through your fingers. The more you clutch, the less you have. But when you relax your hold, when you open your palm, you find that the water flows in, filling your hands effortlessly. Life works in much the same way. But letting go is not about abandoning our desires, our responsibilities, or our dreams. It's not about detaching ourselves from life. On the contrary, it is about engaging with life fully, yet without the need to control every outcome. It's about trusting that life, like the river, will carry us where we need to go, if only we allow it to. Letting go means releasing the need to force things into existence. It means trusting in the natural rhythm of life, rather than imposing our own frantic beat. When we let go, we align ourselves with the natural flow, and in return, life gives us more than we could have planned for or expected. Life gives us the opportunities we've been waiting for, the lessons we've been resisting, the experiences we could never have predicted. But the paradox remains. The more we let go, the more we receive. It is the law of surrender. When we stop trying to force our way, when we stop holding on to what we think we must have, we create the space for life to give us more. Just as the bird finds its freedom not through struggling against the wind, but through yielding to it, we too find our freedom through the simple act of surrender. Life, in its vastness, is not something to be controlled. It is something to be danced with. When we learn to let go, to release the heavy burdens of control and expectation, we open ourselves to the beauty, the grace, and the abundance that life has waiting for us. But why, you might ask, do we struggle so much to let go? What is it that keeps us holding on so tightly, even when we know that the very act of gripping only causes us pain? This is where the paradox deepens, because in trying to control, we often miss the point of life itself. Let us reflect for a moment. What is the ego? The ego is the part of us that believes it must be in charge, that must manage every detail, that must ensure that everything goes according to plan. The ego fears that if it lets go, it will be lost. It will cease to exist.
The ego is afraid that surrendering control means giving up on life itself. But the ego does not understand the deep truth of life. It does not know that by letting go, we are not losing ourselves. In fact, we are discovering ourselves. For in the act of letting go, we reconnect with the greater whole. We stop living in isolation, caught in the small world of the self, and we begin to experience the vastness of life as it truly is. We are not separate from life, we are life. And when we release our grip, we return to the natural rhythm of the universe, where everything flows, everything connects, and everything becomes more. The more we let go, the more we experience the fullness of life. The more we recognize that we are part of something far greater than our small egos can comprehend. And when we open ourselves to this truth, life begins to give us what we need. As we move through life, it is easy to forget this. We get caught up in the struggle, in the chase. We believe that if we just hold on tighter, if we try harder, we will get what we want. But life is not about the chase. It is about the dance. And like any dance, it requires rhythm, grace, and the willingness to let go. Let go of the need to control. Let go of the need to plan every step. Let go of the fear of uncertainty. And in that space, in that surrender, you will find that life gives you more. More love, more joy, more opportunities, more connection, more peace.
We often believe that by holding on, we are securing our future. But what if I told you that the opposite is true? What if the more we let go, the more the future opens up to us in ways we never could have planned for? Think for a moment about a time in your life when you let go of something, a fear, a belief, an attachment. Perhaps it was a relationship, a job, or a certain expectation you had for yourself. In that moment of release, it may have felt like you were losing something important. But in the weeks or months that followed, did you not discover something new? A new path? A new opportunity? A new insight? This is life's gift to you. The moment you release your grip, life fills the space with something unexpected, yet exactly what you need. Life is not a linear journey. It is not a path we walk in a straight line, controlled and predictable. No, life is a winding, twisting road. It moves in spirals, loops, and curves. It is alive, dynamic, and unpredictable. When we try to control it, we fight against its natural flow. But when we let go, when we stop resisting, we allow ourselves to be carried along by the currents of life, trusting that wherever they take us is where we need to go. To understand this, we must examine the concept of trust. Trust is often seen as something passive. We think of it as waiting for life to deliver on its promises, but this is a misunderstanding. Trust in its deepest sense is active. It is the active choice to surrender control. It is not a resignation, but a deep inner knowing that by letting go, we align ourselves with something greater. Trust is not about waiting for things to happen. It is about knowing that what happens is part of the unfolding of life, and that everything, even the difficulties, have a purpose. Consider the natural world again. A seed does not force itself to grow. It does not struggle against the earth, pushing upwards with every ounce of its strength. No, the seed allows the earth to nurture it. It lets go of the need to be in control. And when the time is right, it bursts forth from the soil, reaching toward the sun. This process is not forced. It is a natural unfolding, a surrender to the forces that shape life. In this way, life gives the seed exactly what it needs: nourishment, space, and time, but only because the seed lets go of its resistance. So too must we learn to let go. We must stop resisting the natural flow of life, and when we do, we will find that life gives us what we need, not in the way we expect, but in the way that is most fulfilling. It gives us growth, transformation, and the opportunity to become something greater than we were before. But this can only happen if we trust the process, if we surrender to it fully without the constant need to control every outcome. Trusting life does not mean being passive. It does not mean sitting back and waiting for things to happen. It means being fully engaged in life, participating in the dance, but with the understanding that you cannot control every step. It means being present, aware, and open to whatever life brings, knowing that it is leading you exactly where you need to go.
But there's another aspect to this, an aspect that often causes us to resist letting go: fear. Fear of the unknown. Fear of what will happen if we release our hold on life. Fear of change. The ego tells us that if we let go, we will fall. But in truth, it is only when we let go that we can rise. The ego's fear is grounded in a false sense of security. It is built on the idea that if we control everything, we are safe. But the real safety, the true security, comes from trusting that life will give us exactly what we need, even if we can't see the full picture. Fear keeps us trapped in the illusion of control. It keeps us from stepping into the unknown, where all possibility lies. But when we let go of the fear, we step into a new realm of freedom. We open ourselves to the unexpected, to the mystery, and to the beauty of life unfolding before us. The more we let go, the more we move beyond the constraints of the ego, beyond the boundaries of what we think is possible. And in that space, we discover the infinite potential of life. The more we let go, the more life gives us, but only if we are willing to surrender to the dance. Let's delve deeper into the nature of fear, for it is one of the most powerful forces that keeps us from letting go. Fear is not just an emotion. It is a tight grip on the soul, a heavy hand on the heart that prevents us from moving freely. It tells us that we must hold on, that if we let go, we will be lost in the chaos of life. But if you look closely, fear is always rooted in the illusion of separation. The ego believes it is distinct, isolated, and separate from the vastness of life. It believes that if it lets go, it will fall into nothingness. But nothingness does not exist. What the ego perceives as emptiness is, in truth, the boundless potential of life itself. The more we allow ourselves to relax into this realization, the more we understand that we are not separate from the flow of life. We are life itself, just as the river is the water, the tree is the earth, and the bird is the wind. We are not separate from the universe, we are expressions of it. And just as the universe moves through us, we must learn to move with it. Fear makes us feel that we are isolated, that we must fight against life to survive. But when we let go of this fear, we discover that we are never alone. We are always part of the whole, always part of the dance, always part of the flow. The universe does not ask us to fight against it. It asks us to move with it, to surrender to the rhythm that is already there. When we release the fear of falling, we find that we are lifted. We are carried by life itself, as the bird is carried by the wind, as the river is carried by its current. We discover that we do not need to struggle to stay afloat. All we need to do is surrender to the current, to trust that it will carry us where we need to go. This is the key to understanding how life works. We do not need to control the flow, we simply need to be part of it. The more we try to control, the more we resist. But when we let go, life takes us to places far beyond what our minds could have planned. The opportunities, the people, the experiences, they all come to us when we stop trying to force them into existence. But letting go is not a one-time act. It is a continual process, a practice. Each moment offers us the choice to let go of something, a thought, an expectation, a fear. And each time we let go, we create space for something new to enter. Like a cup, if it is already full, nothing can be poured into it. But if we empty it, we create the possibility for something new, something unexpected, to fill it. This is how life works. It is a constant cycle of release and renewal. The more we let go, the more life can flow through us, and the more we are able to receive. It is not a passive act, but a dynamic one, an active engagement with life, where we step out of the way and allow the flow to carry us to new heights. You may ask, but what about my goals? What about my desires? And I tell you, letting go does not mean abandoning your dreams. It means releasing your attachment to the outcome, to the specific way in which you think those dreams should come to fruition. It means trusting that the universe has a better plan for you than you could ever conceive. When we let go of the need to control how our dreams will manifest, we make room for something greater. Our desires will still guide us, but the path will no longer be a straight line. It will be a dance, a rhythm, a flow. By letting go of our rigid expectations, we make space for new, unexpected possibilities. Life has a way of surprising us, of bringing us exactly what we need when we need it, even if we can't see the full picture. This is the magic of surrender. It opens us up to the infinite possibilities of life, and in doing so, we discover that we are never truly lost. We are always exactly where we need to be. The ego fights against this. It insists that if we don't control, we will be left behind. But in truth, it is only when we stop trying to control that we begin to experience the fullness of life. Life is not something to be mastered. It is something to be lived, to be danced with, to be surrendered to.
Now let's return to the question of time, another aspect of life that often brings us into conflict with the natural flow. We live in a world that is governed by time, and yet time itself is an illusion. We are constantly chasing after the future, trying to control the future, trying to secure it, as if it were something that could be caught, held, and controlled. And yet, no matter how hard we try, the future always slips through our fingers, just as the past does. We often think that the more we plan, the more we control time, the more we can secure our future. But the truth is, the more we try to control time, the more we lose touch with the present. The only moment that truly exists is this one, the present. The past is gone, and the future is yet to come. And yet, in our frantic desire to control, we find ourselves living neither in the past nor the future, but outside of the present, missing the life that is happening right now. To live in the present is to let go of our attachment to the past and the future. It is to release the need to control time, to stop chasing after something that is always just beyond our grasp. It is to realize that the moment is all there is, and that in this moment we are already whole, already complete, already connected to everything. We don't need to control time, we need to surrender to it. When we do, we find that time, like life, gives us everything we need, in the exact moment we need it. Time, like the river, is always flowing, always moving. We cannot stop it, nor can we hold on to it, but we can learn to move with it, to flow with it, to surrender to it. And in doing so, we find that the more we let go of our need to control time, the more time itself expands. It becomes a source of endless possibility, a canvas on which we can paint our lives. When we stop trying to control it, we experience time as an endless gift, a never-ending present. The same is true of the present moment. When we let go of the past and future, when we stop chasing and controlling, we enter into a state of pure presence.
In this state, we are no longer burdened by regret or anxiety. We are simply here, in this moment, fully alive, fully engaged, fully connected to the flow of life. And it is in this state of presence that life gives us its greatest gifts.
The gifts of life are not found in the future, nor are they trapped in the past. They are found in the now, in the beauty of this moment, in the people around us, in the experiences unfolding before us. The more we let go of our attachment to the future, the more we discover the richness of the present. And the more we embrace the present, the more life gives us, not just in the way of material possessions or achievements, but in the way of peace, joy, and connection. The ego tells us that we must keep striving, keep planning, keep controlling. It tells us that the future is where happiness lies, that we must hold on tightly to our goals and our dreams in order to secure our success. But in doing so, we miss the most important part of life, the present. The more we let go of our need to control time, the more we experience the fullness of the present moment. And in this fullness, we find that life gives us everything we need. To live in the present is to let go of time. It is to realize that the present is not something we can grasp, but something we can experience. And when we experience the present fully, when we release our attachment to the future, we find that time itself becomes a gift, one that flows effortlessly, one that moves with us rather than against us. Now, let's consider the deeper nature of surrender, the dance between control and freedom, the act of letting go that seems to go against everything we've been taught. We live in a world where control is often seen as the ultimate form of power. We believe that if we can control our circumstances, our outcomes, our relationships, we will achieve the life we desire. Yet this very act of controlling becomes the barrier between us and the flow of life. It is like trying to hold on to a breeze, squeezing it tightly in our hands. The harder we grasp, the more we suffocate the air, and the less it moves. Surrender is often misunderstood. It is not about giving up or resigning ourselves to life's difficulties. It is not about being passive or weak. On the contrary, true surrender requires immense strength, wisdom, and trust. To surrender is to release our need to control, to open ourselves to the flow of life, to trust that life will give us what we need in the exact way we need it. Surrender is the ultimate act of freedom, for in it we free ourselves from the prison of our own expectations and desires. Think about the concept of resistance. Resistance is a heavy force. It drags us down, weighs us down, and keeps us in a constant state of struggle. It is like swimming upstream, against the current with all our might. The more we resist, the more we exhaust ourselves. The more we try to control, the harder the battle becomes. But what happens when we stop resisting? What happens when we stop trying to swim upstream and instead let ourselves be carried downstream by the current? The answer is simple. We are free. We are free to flow, free to experience life as it unfolds, free to be ourselves without the constant pressure of trying to control every outcome. When we let go, when we surrender to life, we discover a freedom we never knew existed. It is a freedom that comes from trust, from the deep knowing that life is not something we need to fight against. It is something we need to embrace, to move with, to dance with. This is the paradox of life. The more we let go, the more freedom we experience. The more we surrender, the more we receive. Life gives us everything we need, but only when we release our need to control it. The more we hold on, the less we have. The more we let go, the more we are given. But to truly surrender, we must let go of our fear. Fear is the shadow that keeps us from embracing life as it is. It tells us that if we don't control, we will lose everything. It whispers in our ears that if we release our grip, we will fall. But in truth, it is only when we release our fear, when we stop listening to the voice of the ego, that we begin to experience life in its fullest expression. Fear is the greatest barrier to surrender. It is what keeps us trapped in the illusion of control. It is what keeps us from trusting in the flow of life. But when we face our fear, when we allow it to rise and pass through us, we realize that it is not something to be afraid of. Fear is simply the unknown, and the unknown is where all possibility lies. When we let go of fear, we make space for possibility. We make space for the flow of life to carry us to new places, to new experiences, to new ways of being. And in this flow, in this surrender, life gives us everything we need. Not according to our plans, not according to our timelines, but in the way that is most perfect for us. To surrender is not to give up, but to open up. It is to open ourselves to the fullness of life, to the beauty of the unknown, to the mystery that is ever present around us. And when we open ourselves in this way, we allow life to fill us with its gifts, gifts of love, wisdom, peace, and joy.
Surrender is the ultimate paradox. When we let go, we are not losing, we are gaining. We are gaining freedom, we are gaining trust, and we are gaining the fullness of life. The more we let go, the more we receive. The more we surrender, the more we find ourselves aligned with the natural flow of life. And in that alignment, we are given everything we could ever need. Now, as we reach the final part of this exploration, let's take a moment to reflect on what it means to live in this dance of surrender and trust. To live fully is to live in the present, to move with the flow, and to let go of all that keeps us anchored in fear, control, and resistance. It is to trust that life knows the way, and that by releasing our grip, we align ourselves with wisdom far greater than anything the ego could ever devise. This, ultimately, is the secret. Life, in its most profound form, is a gift. But we can only receive this gift when we stop trying to force it into a shape we think it should take. When we let go of our need for certainty, we open ourselves to the mystery and magic of life. And that is when life begins to unfold in ways we could never have imagined. The more we let go, the more life gives us, and the more we realize that the very act of surrender is what opens us to the richness of our existence. In letting go, we let go of not only our fear, but also our attachments to success, failure, and all the labels we place upon ourselves. We let go of the idea that we must be something or someone in order to be worthy, in order to have a fulfilling life. We realize that we are already whole, already complete, just as we are. The more we let go of our attachment to outcomes, the more we experience the beauty of life unfolding in its own time and in its own way. The dance of life is not about achieving, striving, or reaching a particular destination. It is about being present to each step, to each breath, to each moment, without the constant urge to control what comes next. When we learn to move with life rather than fight against it, we experience an effortless flow, a state of grace where everything falls into place. We no longer have to chase after life. We become part of it, and it carries us effortlessly toward our true fulfillment. This is the deep truth of letting go. When we release, we don't lose, we gain everything. The more we trust, the more life offers us, not in the form we expect, but in the form that is most meaningful and fulfilling. The more we let go, the more we discover our true nature, our connection to the universe, and the abundance that flows through all of us. So I invite you now to surrender, not as a defeat, but as a profound act of freedom. Let go of the need to control. Let go of your fears, your expectations, and your attachments.
Open yourself to the flow of life and trust that it will take you exactly where you need to go. You are not lost. You are part of the river, part of the wind, part of the eternal dance of the universe. The more you let go, the more you realize that life is not something you need to grasp. It is something you are already a part of. And so, in the quiet space of surrender, you will find that you are not falling, you are rising. You are moving with the flow of life, and in that movement, you discover a freedom beyond anything the ego could ever understand. The more you let go, the more life gives you, not in the form you expect, but in the form that is most meaningful and fulfilling. As you step into this surrender, let it be known, life's greatest gifts are not found in the pursuit of control, but in the graceful dance of letting go.